All right, Colonel, this guy hit me up on LinkedIn and former Marine. I love that. And he's like, hey, can you help me? I'm in the middle of a capital raise. And I started typing, going back and forth. I'm like, bro, just call me. Like, I don't want to sit there and type, but let's maybe we can give him the whole play-by-play on how to raise capital, right? Let's see what he's done so far. Do you know what it takes to raise capital?
Yeah.
What is it?
You can't start raising capital when you need capital. You have to prime the pump first, so you gotta become a thought leader in real estate.
There he is. All right, you should take this call, man. You can knock this out. Hey, it's Ash.
Hi, Ash. How are you? This is Winston.
Hey, Wilson, what's going on, man?
Not much. How are you doing, sir?
Good. I'm on a boat, so you might hear some background boats and kids screaming going by.
No worries. No.
All right, tell me what's going on.
Well, so we got all our filings done and everything we needed to. Just with my partner, he's very experienced. It's just capital raising hasn't ever really been something that he's done. All of his deals were either with partners directly, large developers, or he partnered a lot with Pulte to save a lot of the developer side of their team. So capital raising has never been something he's ever really had to do.
Okay. So he's used his own money for a lot of years. How did you guys partner?
So he's been my mentor for a long time, someone that I got to know. He, when I was younger, starting out, he liked my drive, he liked my ambition, and he liked that when it came to some of the developments that he'd bring my way, how I thought outside of the box. Whether it be with Mission Essential Industrial, or along the other lines of a value add to the city as a whole, entertainment and multifamily style districts. So I helped come up with ideas like that would drive large amounts of revenue into a city and put them in front of him and his team for them to execute on and things of that nature. So when I spoke to him, I asked him and let him know I wanted to start branching out and doing my own thing and start my own fund, and asked if he'd like to be a part of the team with me. And he said yes, but capital raising hasn't ever been anything that either of us have really done. That's kind of where our stick-up point is.
Okay.
Management, deal flow, that's all something him and I both have.
Do you guys have the deal now, or you're preemptively raising?
So ours is it's a closed-end fund, but it's a not open-end. I can't think of the word.
Evergreen?
No. It's I guess an open-end is the right term for it.
Okay, so people put money in. Do they know when they get it back?
Yeah.
So what's the whole period?
7 years, 7 to 9. So we have a 2-year options, or 2 single-year options periods in an event that, say, market changes would allow for a larger increase in return by, say 10 or 12%, simply from, triggered events such as some of the properties that we're going into have rental bumps structured into them and things of that nature, that if in year 7 a rental bump is going to trigger in year 7.5, we have the option to extend that property, but they get the whole period 7 to 9, maximum of 9.
Okay, so people are committed for 7 years into this fund, right?
Yeah.
What types of properties are you going to buy?
So we're purchasing Mission Essential Industrial, that large strip centers. So large AI resilient strip centers is the way I'd put it. And then stabilized multifamily. So it's meant to be an income fund for them. So we have quarterly distributions factored in, and then we don't participate until they meet a specific preferred return throughout that period, and then upon sale they get their capital back.
Okay, what do you know about me?
About you, I've seen your posts. You have a lot of knowledge, a long term of experience in the multifamily space, from my understanding.
All right, here's your first failure. My company is literally called Invest Beyond Multifamily. We are anti multifamily. Not exactly, but we're pro high returns. So,
Right.
so anytime I have a call with somebody or somebody books a call with me, I always try to do research on them. You need to learn this so when a potential investor calls you, could even be me, potential investor. I invest in a lot of other people's deals. You've got to find out everything you can about them, right?
Okay.
So never ever take a call or make a call without knowing everything that's publicly available. And bro, you can use AI to help you with that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if I'm very easy to Google. If you had said, hey, Ash Patel, real estate guy, I've got a call with him, what would help me penetrate, what I'm trying to accomplish, or what are good talking points, and AI will give you all of that. So,
Right.
okay, so now that we're beyond that, here's my advice to you. You're raising from a lot of different, or for a lot of different asset classes. It's a different type of investor that invests in retail, industrial, and especially multifamily.
All right.
So,
We
one more question. Are people going to put money into this fund and then you deploy it as you see fit?
we deploy it. Well, so we have a fund administrator that when we deploy capital, they also have to approve our deployments of where we deploy capital to. So if we are deploying capital to, say, a multifamily property that requires high capex, they're going to give us a no, that doesn't fit within the thesis that you've presented to us as our fund administrator. So they're that double, layer on top of us. But yes, essentially with,
Is that a
yeah.
third party?
Yeah, they're a third party.
Yeah. Why do you want a babysitter? And you're doing that for compliance. I get that. But if I find a great deal, I don't want to have to run it by somebody that's outside of my company, right? So here's a better way to go. And one of the challenges you're going to run into is people are going to say, "Show me the historic performance of your fund." Well, we're just starting. Okay, well, there's thousands of other funds that have a track record, proven distributions. Why should I invest in yours? Do you have a good answer?
My military discipline. So a lot of these other investors that I've seen, they're not as disciplined. They've started to go away from the consistent playbook that has been put in front of them by large institutions that have done this for a long time. They're taking higher risks, and they're not sticking to the fundamentals and the basics that get you consistent wins even during down periods.
I love that. There's also a lot of other very disciplined former military syndicators out there. Here's a better plan for you. I would raise for individual deals. What kind of fund did you set up and who'd you set it up through?
So I set up my fund through Red Rock. I built it out, mostly from my experience and my know of waterfall distributions and, what's needed for a fund to properly function and run.
Okay. We have a fund set up through Avestor, and it's a customizable fund. It probably took us 2 months to set up, going through all the background checks, SEC filings, all that stuff. And now we can onboard a deal within 10 minutes. Excuse me. So what I would do is I would set up a customizable fund or maybe just modify your docs. Since you haven't started raising yet, you can easily modify them, make it a customizable fund, and raise deal by deal. I totally understand what you're trying to do. Have a pool of money so when you need it, it's there. But I'm telling you right now, with investors' mindset, their mentality, they want to know, touch, and feel what they're investing in. So I've pulled a lot of our investors and I've asked, hey, if we have a fund where you just put money in, evergreen type of fund. Are you guys up for that? Response was overwhelmingly no. We want to know what we're investing in. Now, granted, once you're established, a lot of our investors that have been with us for many years, they will put money in any deal that we have, even though they don't really even understand it. I mean, we have people that don't even watch the webinar. They'll say, "Hey, man, you're raising for another deal, right? Put me in for 200," and they have no idea what it is, and they don't care. And that's the power of track record. That's also the power of building your network, not just so you have names and email addresses, but to where you actually get to know your investors, right? So
Yeah.
I would really advise you to rethink your thesis. And I know you probably put a lot of time and thought into this, but it's not the easiest way to raise money, especially with no track record.
Right.
You're not going to get people to write you a check and they're going to be, "Hey man, be a good steward of my money. See you in 7 or 8 years." Doesn't work that way.
Right.
So you've got to find the deal. Now here's the problem. I told my colleague I'm taking this call and I'm going to help you with your fund setup. He said, "Okay, well the biggest thing is you can't raise money when you already have the deal,
Right.
because you typically have a pretty tight time window, right? I mean, once you go through your initial underwriting, once you're in DD, you might have at best 80 days, typically 45 plus 30, 60, whatever.
Right.
So that's not the time to raise money. You have to have already done all of the legwork ahead of time.
Right. Absolutely.
So that's where you need to act like you're raising right now for a deal before you need it, right? So have all these conversations with investors. And if you had a conversation with me about putting money into your next deal, I want to know about track record. And if you don't have one, maybe you can add in some of your partner's track record if he's going to partner with you on this fund. But metrics are important. There's a subset of investors that will ask you specific numbers, performance numbers, right?
Right.
Have that readily available. And then once you find the deal, it's sending out an email to all of your investors or people on your list. And I'm assuming you set up a 506c.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can also use social media, LinkedIn, your own personal social media profiles, and you can blast it out. Hey, we're having a webinar this day. And I would do two, one at 11 a.m. and one at 7 p.m. So people that are flexible during the day, maybe they don't have a 9 to 5, they would probably be happy joining the morning one. The morning one will also help you work out the kinks. Then the evening one is the one that you record and put on your website.
Right. Okay.
If you go to investbeyondmultifamily.com, I think our latest webinar is still published. It's on Voice Circle Louisville. So this one was kind of crazy. All cash, raising for 16 office buildings. So one of the most toxic assets in all of real estate right now.
Yeah.
And total raise was $3.5 million. I put $1 million of my own money into it, as I promised in the beginning. So we raised $2.5 million in what, 30 days? Less than 30 days? I think our entire window of raising was 30 days. So I think we had most of it done within 20. But you'll see there was a little bit of education, a little bit of track record about the team, and it's kind of a textbook how to raise money using a webinar.
Right.
And then for anybody that didn't join, you send an email blast with a link to the webinar.
Okay.
But people have to know, like, and trust you, right?
Yes.
In 30 days, you can't establish that. So my best advice to you, start a newsletter. It could be quarterly, monthly, depending on how aggressive you want to be. Don't spam people, but the first newsletter needs to take every single person that's ever emailed you or that you've emailed and just say, this is my attempt at reconnecting with all of you. Sorry I haven't done a great job. here's what's going on in my life. And one photo in the newsletter, it could be of a property, it could be of you and your family, your kids, whatever. Just one photo, plain text email, no MailChimp, no bullshit with all the formatting, because then it just comes across as a marketing email, right? Like when those hit your inbox, you're like, ah, shit, another marketing newsletter. Well, make it plain text. Keep it to 1 page or less. And at the end of that email, say, hey, would love to see or would love to hear about which one of life's milestones you're enjoying.
Right.
If you have a chance, offer some humility in that newsletter. I shared a story of how I try to be better with not being on my phone. And one day I left my phone in the office. I walked out to the kitchen, hanging out with the kids. One of my kids heard my phone ring in the office. They were like probably 7 years old. He sprinted to grab my phone from my office, and I caught him midair. And he looked at me like, motherfucker, like, your phone's ringing. How are you not going to answer it? And it was shocking to my son that I was not picking up my phone. And that made me feel horrible, right? That this kid knows how important my phone is. So
Right.
I shared that. So you share some humility, share some hard lessons you've learned. And this is how you get people to connect with you.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and brother, I had people respond to that email, people that I knew for a year, maybe 10 years ago. They lived in Cincinnati for a year and hadn't talked to them in 9 or 10 years. And they reached out and they're like, hey, man, great to hear from you. My wife and I actually have 300 grand that we're looking to deploy in real estate, but we just don't know how. And then we have a phone conversation, right? You can put in your Calendly appointment for people to book a call. If you're not overly busy, just put your cell phone. Be like, hey, call, email, text me anytime. And this is how you start building up your investor list.
Right. That makes sense.
It's that simple, but it's not overnight. You can't raise $30 million in the next 30 days. But you can put all the legwork in now so that when you do have a deal, you're ready to raise for it.
Right. Okay.
That's the move. That's how you raise capital, man.
Alrighty. Well, I really appreciate it, Ash. You've brought a lot of insight. So that's definitely, I'll take that advice to heart.
All right, and I would love to see any correspondence you put out. So I'll give you my email address.
Alrighty, let me get that written down. All right, I'm ready whenever you are.
It's Ash, A-S-H, at investbeyondmultifamily.com.
Alrighty. Thank you very much, Ash.
All right, good luck to you, brother.
Thank you.
All right, cheers.
Bye.
What'd you think?
Good.
Good guy.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, he wasn't like getting offended when you were saying like, hey, you kind of fucked up here. It was
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, I did fuck up. Like,
And he didn't be like, well, no, that's not how you do it. Very receptive to advice. I hope he kills it, man. I want to see his first newsletter. And it sounds like he hasn't been coached very well, right?
yeah, I think so. It looks like his mentor taught him about the real estate part of it, but not the raising part of real estate. It seems like he's more at operations and finding deals.
Yeah, the mentor used all his own money for all these years.
Yeah.
So, but hey, good for this kid, man. All right, that's it.